right, I think we're live. Give it a couple seconds. I hate when it cuts me off. Well, I'm struggling hardcore, but welcome to the class war. Welcome to the struggle. We got some devastating news the other day, so forgive me for going so late. I told you I go live every weekday, 5 days a week, even when I'm dealing with a crisis in my life. So again, sorry, it's 10:15. I know usually I go much earlier in the day, but my days are paralyzed with stress and fear. And if it's not that, just uh, I'm just doing my best to survive right now, scrambling to try to figure out how we're going to survive in life. So things are not good. And I'm sure at some point I'll talk about what's going on, but right now, just not prepared to. So, again, my apologies for going so late. If you just join in or if you're watching this later, um, I go live 5 days a week, every weekday. If you could hit subscribe and hit the notification bells, you'll get notified when I go live. That way we don't miss each other. I always try to bring you something about the class war, about the struggle. I want to talk about becoming an outlaw because I'm part of TikTok. And in this land of the free, I hate that phrase. This is so stupid. We should change our American bird to the seagull. It's just a bunch of trash eating, vulture esque, grubby representatives we have. So disgusting. I mean, I've talked to people who are like, oh, it's Chinese spies. That's all TikTok is. And that's like their mindset. They're not on it, they're scared of it. Trump did a lot of fear mongering for TikTok. He tried to executive order ban it. Um, there's an article in USA Today, which I linked below. If you want to read it for yourself, you're more than welcome to. That's what I'm going to kind of reference, talking about this TikTok thing. Again, if I seem out of it, my apologies. I'm going through a crisis, but I'm making good on my word. I'm going 5 days a week, every weekday. I'm making good on my word, even though my brain is broken right now. So yeah, land of the free. Welcome to America, where the people we vote into office to represent us go against our interests every single day. And the most disgusting thing about this, hold on, let me just grab this real quick so I can read, because it's kind of shocking. No, not kind of. It's absolutely shocking that the bill passed the House 352 to 65. I haven't seen that kind of bipartisan, meaning the left and the right coming together to agree on something, I don't think in my lifetime. And I'm old. I remember when Kurt Cobain and Tupac were alive. 352 to 65. Remember, this is a government that can't agree on keeping the spending bills to keep the government running, because usually it's like a political move. So one side of the aisle won't work with the other. They both work together to pass this, which would ban TikTok or force TikTok to sell to U.S. company. That's under the guise that like the government's whole thing is like, oh, they're going to sell your data to Beijing. That's what it says in this USA Today article. You can read the article below. I link almost everything I talk about. If I can, I link it in there. Sorry, my brain is broken right now. We're just facing some devastating times. So if it takes me a little bit longer to get through stuff, it's because I'm real. Like I've only had 2 panic attacks in my life, and I had one the other day. So my family's just really going through it right now. So the government, these politicians, F calling them politicians. I want to call them representatives because I want to remind people the language we use is important because they're supposed to represent us. Um, they're selling it under the guise as like our data is going to be sold. But I've never heard them concerned about Facebook selling our data, MySpace, Apple, whatever else. MySpace might not be a thing anymore. Everything, like selling our data is big business in America. Happens every day, every moment. Data leaks, data breaches, data being sold without our consent, without our permission. So really what it says to me, if they're worried about Beijing buying it, is they're not going to get a cut. Because these politicians are making money off our data left and right, because when the data gets sold, who do you think's funding the politicians to keep at bay from going after these companies, these huge companies? They're funding our politicians to make sure that when they do some shady stuff to track us and know exactly what we're doing. Whenever I get on the phone and we're talking about something, I say, "Hi, Google. Hi, Amazon. We know you're listening." But that's the guise that they're trying to portray this as, that they're protecting us from ourselves by banning a social media. And for all those people who say like, "Oh, you don't want us to become communist, try China." Guess what this is? Government banning TikTok is becoming communist China. China regulates most of the internet that their people get. Sounds like this is what our representatives are doing. I don't know where you land on this, but this USA Today article has some interesting polling done. It said that research, a recent poll from Associated Press and Newark Center for Public Affairs found that 31% of adults would favor a nationwide ban on TikTok, while 35% would oppose it. Again, not a majority of the people. Who is Congress representing when a majority of them vote to ban this? But among those who use TikTok daily, a national ban is unpopular with 73%. And if you're wondering how many people use TikTok, the listing numbers are 7 million small businesses and 170 million Americans use the service. It's not a small amount. 73% of 170 million Americans. That's a large amount. That's a huge voting bloc. And these representatives are working against us. They're turning us into outlaws. What's going to happen? You got TikTok on your phone. You become an outlaw? They're just going to scrub it off your phone? How does that happen? They're going to shut down the servers so you can't have access to it? I mean, I don't even want to. Usually I like to say, how does this play out in 5-10 years? But I can't go into 2024 who? I don't know. I ain't voting for anybody in 2024, if that's what you're talking about. I reject this political system. It don't serve me, it don't serve my people. And that's the biggest frustrating thing, and that's why I'm calling these people representatives, and I encourage you to, because it reminds them and it reminds us that they're there to represent us. That's why they go for our votes. That's why they campaign so hard. That's why they kiss babies and kiss hands, or shake babies and kiss hands, whatever they're doing. That's why, because if we don't vote for them, they don't get to go and get bribed by corporations. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to pronounce your name either. My apologies. I did take some Russian on Duolingo, which that language is fascinating to me. It really is. I'm intrigued by the letters and the lexicon, and I don't know, so fascinated. But there's a few languages that I really am fascinated by. Russian's one of them. Just interesting. So we're all going to become TikTok outlaws. And if you're on TikTok, you understand it's not just like funny edited cat videos. There's a lot of good information being passed around there. And the biggest thing is the younger generations. You know, the Gen Z and the Zoomers, if that's the same thing. And some millennials. I know the older people aren't on there, but uh, my favorite, there's a couple favorite TikTok channels. One of them that exposes all, they basically follow the money. This guy follows the money everywhere. His name is Ian. I highly suggest you check him out before TikTok gets banned. His channel is called Cancel This Clothing Line or Cancel This Clothing Company. My apologies. Um, and he follows the money on everything, whether it's, the Harvard scandals, the CIA, uh, single family homes being bought up, the Epstein stuff. I'm trying to think what I mean, really, he runs the gamut and he has good information. He's like a professional researcher. I don't know what his title is, but Cancel This Clothing Company or Cancel This Clothing Line. He's on YouTube. He hasn't done too much recently on YouTube, but TikTok, he's all over and it's good information. And that's the thing, the government doesn't want us passing along this information. They're well aware of it. They may play dumb and not know how to use the internet and play that whole thing up, but you don't think they have a crack team of young kids following these accounts and getting mad every time, the citizens are exposing their corruption? They have people that do that for them. Don't mistake it when they sit there and interview people or pull people up to Congress to testify and they go, well, do you have to turn the internet on to use it? And they play dumb like that because they got a team of 30, 40, 50 people researching, scrubbing the internet, finding out everything they can. So many criminals. They're all criminals. That's why, I refuse to partake in this system. This system has done nothing to represent the people. Yep. Ken, good to see you, man. And again, my apologies, everybody, for going late. My family's going through a major crisis. I've been devastated the past few days. So when I say, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll know when I'm going live, if it's 10:30 at night or 9:30 in the morning. All I can guarantee is I'm going live every weekday. And I'm giving you my word on that. And even though my family is in absolute crisis, we don't know what tomorrow looks like right now. I'm still here because I gave you my word. And this is very important. I'll always fight for the people until my last breath. This stuff is so vital. And the only way we get through this is coming together, solidarity, uniting, and understanding that we, protecting each other, coming together as a community, a virtual community, a digital community, a physical community. Us coming together is the only way we can move forward. We can build a country we benefit from, that we believe in, that we want. And I think people forget that. And also, before I go into why people forget that, I just want to say, if you have subscribed, especially this week, I've seen a lot more subscribers, and I just want to say thank you so much. This week has been probably the hardest week of my life since my dad took his life, and to see the support and stuff, or just people subscribing and joining up, means the world to me. I really can't put into words. I'm just very grateful for you joining this family, this community, because that's the most important part, man. We just, wherever you stand, wherever your perspectives are, it's about starting a conversation, having a conversation, and understanding where we want to go. Kian, they delay things on purpose, 100%. That's why I was saying this TikTok ban was agreed upon by 300. Hold on, sorry. Where is it? I'm so sorry. Hold on. 352 members of the House to 65. 352 members of the House, Republicans and Democrats, never agree on anything. In the United States, the minimum wage the federal minimum wage has been at $7.25 for 15 years. 15 years. And they won't agree to bump it up. When the government comes to their, we need to figure out our spending bill to keep the government running, every, whatever it is, December, I forget when it is, They can't agree to keep th- their own business functioning, their own government functioning, to keep them at work. They can't agree. These numbers are astronomically high, and it makes me, I don't know, makes me think it's suspect. Yeah, man, can so many things are wrong with not only the system, but how our representatives only represent themselves. They're trying to make us outlaws for having TikTok, social media app that by far may just be like goofy and silly videos. But there's a whole other side to TikTok, and I strongly encourage you to look into the people who do research and post videos about the corruption. They say follow the money. There's a lot of good information on TikTok. I highly recommend if you're one of those people who are hesitating to China's going to get all my information. I got news for you. These American companies are already selling all our information to everybody. That's happening every day. Just look up data breach. Just look up that. I mean, we're losing our information. It's real hard to protect your information. So I strongly encourage you. I think it outweighs the bad, the good on TikTok, and follow the cancel this clothing company or cancel this clothing line. Look him up on TikTok. He's here on YouTube, one of the best channels. And he exposes these corrupt politicians, corporations, how they're all tied together, how the banks own everything. I mean, you might think I sound like a tinfoil hat because I'm just explaining what his channel does, but I'm telling you, if you look up this guy, he has the receipts, and he walks you through it, and his videos are very detailed. Yeah, so it's really shocking. I mean, if you hear that our politicians, left and right, can't come together, can't be bipartisan on gun control, housing, healthcare, uh, what are the other big ones? On women's rights, voting rights. Uh, you just think, I mean, government spending to keep the government running. That one seems like the silliest one to me, that it gets held up all the time, because it's like, well, what are you guys going to do? Put yourself out of business? Yeah, of course you're not. It's a big show. It's big political theater, but they still don't agree. And it's never, I don't think it's ever been a 352 to 65. That's a what? Let's call it 50. So that's 2, 3. That's a 6-to-1 ratio. These politicians don't agree like that. That's suspect. Hopefully, this wakes some people up and they join TikTok to find out what information is being passed along on TikTok that these politicians want to make you an outlaw for knowing that information. I mean, that's a scary thing. When the government says, like, we need to outlaw that informational social media, that digital platform, that virtual space, that virtual town hall, I hope people are like, well, what's going on there? If it's that crazy, politicians want to ban it, then we should be checking it out. And then we all become outlaws. That's how we have the power. People should be strong mentally, but what I'm telling you, and I've experienced this with my own father, and I've experienced this with my friends, is people lose hope. That's how I feel right now. I'm praying every hour that God gives me hope, because the disaster, tragedy, devastation my family's going through, it makes you feel hopeless. And that's what it is, man. People don't see a way out. They lose hope. That's one thing I'm sure of. So, I always say hope is one of the most dangerous emotions, because it can lead you to a euphoric high, but when that hope doesn't pan out, it is the most devastating pit of despair. Hope is a dangerous thing. Dangerous thing. And that's ultimately why I try to do this Class War live stream podcast. I hope to inform people, to inspire hope, to understand that and this is what I was going to get earlier, people forget that we can make this country anything we want. I hate when people tell me, well, that's just the way it is. That's just how it's been. I hate that. Don't ever say that. Don't ever say that to me. But that's just the way things are. When people say that, I go, is that what you would have said during slavery? During the Jim Crow South? During the women's suffrage movement? Would you just said, like, well, that's the way it is, women. You shouldn't want to vote. It's insane. And people forget, the people who say that forget that throughout the ages, even even before America. This world is what we want to create. There's really nothing stopping us outside of coming together as a community. When we join in solidarity, when we come together as a group, and that's why these politicians, these police, these corporations want to keep us divided. Because if we come together and we decide we're done with this, we're sick of this. Look at the French Revolution. Bring back tradition, like Rusty Cage said, where he had the patches and pins of the guillotine. It said, bring back tradition. Go check out Rusty Cage's latest video here on YouTube. When the French people said, we had enough, what do? They upended that country and took it back. American Revolution, they said, we ain't going to be treated like this by some king. What do? This is throughout history. It goes farther back than that. That's why it's the most dangerous thing, solidarity amongst the people. That's what I preach. That is my political affiliation. That's the only one I subscribe to and respect. Solidarity amongst the people. The people have the power. And people forget when they just submit and resign to the fact that this is the way it is. That's how it's always been. Well, no, it hasn't always been like that. Just do a little bit of history reading and you'll see how far we've come. And you'll see that people pushing for where we are today is how we get there. It's just like them banning TikTok. If you don't think there's a class war going on, I want you to wake up. I need you to understand that 352 members of the House just came together in solidarity to ban that. There's a class war, and the wealthy are very well organized. And they work to make us outlaws every day. Sorry, I haven't been reading the comments, Kian. They lose power when people stand up. That's right. Well, remember, we put them in power in the first place. That's why I call them representatives, because they're supposed to represent us. We vote for them. We give them our, basically, we vouch for them and give them the power to go and represent us. Then they rob us blind and lie to us and steal from us. And they betray us with the power that they have. And once they're there, they feel invincible, like they got the corporate backing to buy off more people votes and to just be able to spend enough money to keep in power, to trick people into, voting for them or whatever. And they forget, well, no, sorry, they do not forget. The people forget that we're the ones that gave them that power. We could take that power back at any moment. But the biggest thing is coming together. That's exactly why I do this Class War podcast, this live stream. Because I want people to understand wherever you stand, wherever your perspective is. If we can all agree, like, we want a better tomorrow. In 5 years, we want it to be better. We're sick of how it is with healthcare. We're sick of watching people go into financial ruin to be healthy. We're sick of this housing market. We're sick of food prices. We have the power to come together and stand against that and say, tomorrow, we're not going to be paying a third of our budget to food. But we have to stop infighting. We have to understand that irregardless of our differences, most people at the end of the day just want a home to live in, some food to eat, to raise their kids. And these wealthy people, their greed is a bottomless pit. Power is a corrupting force. And they can't see. They got their blinders on. Their only focus is more and more and more. And they'll do anything to exploit us and to siphon everything we have out of our communities and leave us desolate. And that's where it's heading. I want you to just think about how things are going right now. Like Kian said, yeah, he's talking about all the wars. It's shocking and almost debilitating at times for me to think about them sending 90 billion to Ukraine or Israel or wherever. They're sending billions of dollars to these wars, to other people, when at home that $90 billion could help your neighbors, help your family, help your loved ones who are sick. I mean, there's so much money. That's so much money to be invested. And they all agree we can ship it away. But when it comes to its own citizens, they don't care a bit. Yep, Africa built many countries. You're 100%. Greed is making nations collapse. I mean, greed is the downfall. If you look at the revolutions before it, Marie Antoinette let them eat cake, right? She lost her head over that statement. The American Revolution, they just wanted to tax us. No taxation without representation. I mean, look at the greed before. And that's the funniest thing about these hypocrite representatives. Do they not see history? Are they that blinded by greed that they don't know how things have played out before? Are they unaware that you can only exploit the people, the working class, so much? At some point, when they start to starve, they're not going to sit idly by. TV and football games are not going to distract them from the reality they're living in. And that's why this class war live stream is so important to me. And I would love it if you join this family, join this community, wherever you stand politically. Like I said, I have no political affiliations. My only politics is power to the people. That's it. Solidarity with you. Even the people that fight me and say, nobody deserves a living wage, and I use sick time to go on vacation, and vacation time for sick time. And these people will twist themselves into knots to defend the system and how it is, and that it's just good enough, or the status quo meets their status quo. And I tell those people, well, I'm fighting for you too. I don't think it's acceptable that you should have to use, vacation time for sick time or what. I've been in so many different discussions with people. I roll my eyes, but I also tell them, like, you can be okay with it. I'm not, and I'll fight for you too. Tried to eradicate the truth, Cam. Yeah, man. You get it. You understand. And our job as people who understand is to share this knowledge. It's so important. It's so vital because community, unity, solidarity, people understanding their power and their power when we come together, when we unite, united we stand, divided we fall. People need to understand the power they have to shape this world, this future, any way they want it. That's why people say the youth is the future. Because if the youth, and now I think a lot of those old people in power regret saying that because they don't like that the youth are like, no, we want to be able to buy a house. We don't want to, you know, not be able to afford food. We need to change some things. And the people who have the power are like, this status quo works for us. In fact, we're going to extract some more from you. But people need to, and that's why I love these younger generations, because they understand the power they have. That's a beautiful thing to witness. Um, my mental state is just not good right now. I'm sorry, guys. I'll go live again tomorrow, but I got some devastating news the other day, and I'm really struggling. I can't sleep. I keep waking up thinking I'm in a nightmare. I can't eat. Yeah, I can't. People in power are not doing the right thing. They're not representing our interests. Just like making us outlaws for wanting to transfer our knowledge through TikTok. It's so depressing, man, because we gave them that power. I want everybody to remember that if you're watching this now or later. We give these people power. They don't just elect themselves. They can't. We give them power. It's the only way they get to have that power is we give it to them. Remember that. We give it to them in a trusting bond that says, we give you this power, but you represent us, what our best interests are. And they've sold us down the river. Just look at Nancy Pelosi. If you follow on Twitter the account @UnusualWhales, they track her trading, and she's made like 103% of her yearly salary as a politician, as a representative in 60 days. And of course, at the same time she's doing all these insider trading moves, she's also saying, I don't believe that we should ban Congress or their family members from trading stocks. Funny how that works, huh? Something that directly benefits her, she does not want to ban. But she'll come together with all her cohorts to work to ban TikTok. When it comes to banning her from insider trading, from getting rich off the knowledge she has because people put her in power, she's against that, huh? She's disgusting. I got no power over you, Kian. That's right. And they don't have power over us. It's a facade. We have the power. We are the ones that gave them the power. We are the ones that put them there to write the laws, to whatever they are going to do. And it's our job and it's our duty that when they don't represent us, we strip them of that power. So I need everybody to remember that. That's so vital. I hate this, so I'm going to vote for the lesser of two evils. What you're saying is that I'm going to vote against my best interests, because I think I don't deserve better. CJ, hey, what's up, man? You just kind of missed the live stream I've been on for a little while. I was talking about how everybody with TikTok's going to become an outlaw. I also just want to say, if you're on TikTok or if you want to check out TikTok, follow the guy who runs the Cancel This Clothing Company or Cancel This Clothing Line TikTok. He does a lot of videos about following the money. Really good information. Really good researcher. He has the receipts. It's legit. I'm just mentally not good right now. I am not okay. And it's okay to not be okay. My family's dealing with some devastating stuff. So we're really struggling to survive right now. So I think I'm going to wrap it up. But for all you who have subscribed, thank you for joining this family. For the people who subscribed in the past week, man, that's been kind of one of the little silver linings on this storm I'm enduring right now. So I thank you so much for subscribing. It means the world to me. And if you haven't, please think about it. Hit subscribe. I'm always trying to bring some information, entertainment, and education to you because I believe we need to unite as a people, as a community. And I don't care if you live across the country. We are a community. So please hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell because I gave you my word. I go live 5 days a week, every weekday. I just can't give you my word on what time. And here's the proof. Tonight, it's pretty late. Shout out to CJ, Kian. There was somebody else in the chat, but just respect. I appreciate you guys joining the chat, entering the conversation. I love having conversations with people. I love doing this live stream. It's kind of the one little shining thing I get to look forward to through all the distressing stuff. So I thank you, and I hope to keep building this community. So please, share this with friends. Tell people about it. Bring people to the table, whether they agree or disagree, wherever they stand. I think it's important for us to talk to everybody and come together to shape our future. So thank you guys for joining, for real. It's been a really tough week for me. And it's just cool to know there's people out there. It means a lot. Thank you. Peace.